This is an FOU Studios podcast. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Geek XP. It's time to level up with your GXP. As always, I'm Peter the Geek. With me today, I have GMJC.
Hey, world, what's going on?
We also got the Soup Man, Stephen Campbell.
Well, hello.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very exciting guest. He is one of the best hosts I've ever seen on the stage with Batsu NYC. He's done Batsu Chicago. Most of you probably know him from epic rap battles of history, gracing the screen as Ash Ketchum. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Buchan Walters.
Hello, Wakanda forever.
Welcome. What's going on, Brian? How you doing?
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course, yes. So tell us a little bit about yourself before we get going.
I'm an actor. I grew up in Yokohama, Japan, 17 years, half Japanese, half German American, and I'm an actor in New York City, host of Batsu, and a huge MCU nerd.
Awesome.
And geek.
I love it.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So, well, I mean, without further ado, I think we're pretty much ready to do this. The conversation's going to go on for really easily today, so I think it's just about time to Geek Out! That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Geek Out. Brian, what do you want to geek out about today?
I want to geek out about the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yes.
Who does not?
I'm very excited about this.
Well, there's a lot at stake coming now with Infinity War soon in theaters.
And Black Panther just came out as well.
Right.
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet, and I'm really, really excited to. I really, really want to.
It was fantastic.
Oh,
It was so good. I would say it's top five MCU movies for sure.
Gosh.
All right, wait. Well, that
right.
begs the question. So, what is your top 5 list?
Oh my
so
gosh.
far?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Put on the spot and with the pressure.
Yeah. Off the top of my head, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1.
Yep.
Okay.
I have to go with Captain America Winter Soldier.
So good, man.
So good.
I just rewatched that because of Road to Infinity.
Yes.
And it is so good, man.
Like such a good espionage film.
Yes.
I love it. Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
When I saw that the first time in the theater, I was blown away by it. It was amazing.
I happen to think it was super loyal to the original source material while still reinventing stuff. Really well done.
I also
thoroughly enjoyed it.
I also want to say they also got one of the best actors that I think's been a superhero like primary in a long time.
I could, I
Like-
solidly agree with
Like
you there.
Benedict does a great job.
Yeah.
He does. He
It's
does.
like I was blown away by his performance. Like and yes, like loyal to the source material and everything. I loved like it was such a mental trap for him with the whole hands being broken thing, and
Right.
I don't know. I just loved the Road for Recovery. I loved the story behind
yeah.
his journey. It was just so
I mean,
fun.
well, that's the origin story of Doctor Strange.
Well,
in and
right,
of itself is super interesting.
Yes.
It's
Right.
so
Yeah.
compelling.
So good.
So that was 3.
That
We
was
know Black
3.
Panther's on that list.
Yes, number 4. And then number 5, at this point, I'm probably going to have to go with Captain America Civil War.
So I saw Civil War
Yeah.
in theaters 3 times. I absolutely phenomenally enjoyed it. And
Yeah.
I think Avengers is up there for me.
I love the first
The original
Avengers.
The
Avengers.
first
yeah.
Avengers, yeah, it's
So good.
just the Joss Whedon treatment. I think
Right.
really took it to a whole nother level.
Well, it's the first time that we ever saw something like that in cinema, too.
Right.
You know, a cinematic universe actually coalescing into a successful product.
yeah,
Like,
I actually think you're right. Yeah, 100%.
it kind of redefined the business model of cinema.
Absolutely.
I mean, it also had one of the best money shots I think we've seen in a long
my
time.
God.
What, that spinning shot
in
of
the spinning
heroes?
shot where like they have been trying to recapture that moment in pretty much every movie since.
And they
Everyone.
have not done it.
Nothing can. It's one of the best theme swells, just the best moment. Oh,
Even the montage scene of them fighting all the Chitauri is one of the best montage scenes probably since the Spartan movie 300.
Oh.
with that montage of him going
yes.
across. That's such a good scene.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, does such a good job with it.
And it, like each hero's personality really comes through in each of their fight scenes. Also,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just excellent writing, excellent direction, I think, in that
Absolutely.
particular scene.
I do have to admit, though, with Civil War, it took me a while to digest because the original Civil War deals with the X-Men, and it's literally like a countrywide civil war.
Right.
And so when it became friends fighting in a parking lot, it just kind of, I was like, I have to come to terms. This is a new universe. Like, I really had to sit down and like.
I mean, and that's the
let
whole
myself
thing.
have it,
It's
yeah.
always the balance of the source material versus what's accessible and what makes sense in the MCU that's been developed so far. Do you want to weigh in on that, Brian?
I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. I'm not a Marvel comic books fan. I am an MCU fan.
Right.
Big distinction, yeah.
Yeah, I do, of course, love the Marvel characters and the Marvel comic books and all, but I am not. I don't have in-depth knowledge on the comic book lore. I have in-depth knowledge of the MCU.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we
Yes.
just mentioned a little, like before we started recording, we mentioned The Road to Infinity, which is,
Yes.
if you don't know what it is, you're watching one movie every week up until the Infinity War movie comes out.
Yes.
And and when you break it down, there is a lot of content that happens.
There are Infinity War is going to be the 19th
Holy
MCU movie.
wow.
Black Panther was number 18.
That's insane.
That is
That-
insane.
yeah.
It's 10 years
It's-
worth of movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
This year's year
So
10.
so is the original Spider-Man film with Tobey Maguire in that collective? It's not
No.
considered.
No,
Right.
that is a Sony.
Ah, interesting.
Sony,
Okay.
yeah.
Sony owned.
And then
Okay.
there's the Fox with X-Men and Fantastic Four.
Sure. Okay.
But the MCU starts with Iron Man,
right.
directed by Jon Favreau in 2008,
Yeah.
and that's where it all begins.
And, that,
Hey,
that's
yeah.
the 10 years.
I
yeah,
mean,
that's
that movie
incredible.
was really what sparked all of like it. And when you look at it, like, it
Yep.
was such a clear definition of the modern superhero.
And I think it
Yeah.
had the first Easter eggs teasing the next movie
Yes.
coming out. It had a Captain America's shield in his workshop. That was a good one. Yeah.
In the first one, or the
Yes.
I think it's the
I know
first
in the
one.
in
In
the
the sec-
first one, it's back in like on a wall.
Yeah, it's not brought out. In the second one, I
the
think
second
they
one's
more
where he
intent
has
to
the
use-
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah.
in the first one, it's in the background. Yeah.
Yeah.
And something
Oh,
up
I
against
didn't-
the
I didn't
wall.
catch it.
So yeah, just
I'll have to
hidden
look for
little
that.
gems saying like, "Hey, guess what? We're gonna keep building on this."
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I heard that like maybe 2 weeks prior to releasing Iron Man, they finally talked to Samuel L. Jackson about becoming Nick Fury and talked about this possibility of expanding, and that's where he steps in and says, "We want you to be a part of the Avengers initiative."
Right.
And so I still will never forget it. I was watching Iron Man with my friend Tom, who is a big comic book nerd fan. He's a little bit older. He's read it all his life, and he's like, "I can't believe Iron Man's finally out. I'm a huge Iron Man fan. If I want to be any superhero, I want to be Iron Man." So I was like watching it through him, and when we stuck around, I was asking him all these questions during the credits, and then Nick Fury comes out, and I was like, "What is Samuel L. Jackson with a goatee doing?" And
Yeah. And an eye patch. What's this about?
yeah, and
Right.
then he started like tearing up. He's like, "I can't believe this is happening." Like
That's awesome.
the Avengers, and cut to like 10 years later. It's so
We're
crazy how
going to be 3 Avengers movies in.
yeah, it's a multi-billion-dollar franchise. Well, after 19 movies, of course, it's going to be that
Right.
big. But
It's,
Yeah.
I heard someone theorize this, a professor in a college, say that it's basically the modern hero's myth. That this is very much like watching the MCU and some of the DCU on screen now has basically replaced what used to be like all of the Greek myth that a lot of people aspired to
Yeah.
or took inspiration from. This is our current standard
Right.
now. And to see it so successful, such a what originally was like a niche entertainment thing, comic books for nerds,
Yeah.
has now developed into this multi-billion-dollar industry, just like you
Right.
said, where people make it a thing to go watch that film in the theater, and it's like now playing on so many different social levels too.
Yeah.
It's
think of that,
honestly, yeah, it's something incredible.
I think the reason why it expanded that far is even in the first scene of Iron Man, when Tony Stark is sitting in that Humvee or whatever, and the
Yeah.
guy's kind of like, "Oh my gosh, Tony Stark, can I take a picture with you?" It's like, no gang signs. And
Yeah. Not just kidding, put him up.
And then at the end of Avengers, after the Chitauri are defeated,
Yeah.
they have that montage of all the people excited about, Iron Man, and he's wearing a mask, and they have the Thor fists, and they
The
have
Hulk-
like
yeah,
Yeah,
the Hulk fist,
The
yeah,
Hulk,
yeah.
the Hulk
the
fist
number
and-
one, right,
yeah,
right.
they have all these different things, and it's like, oh, they're nerding out and they are regarded as heroes. So like after a while you start watching it and you're like, okay, these guys are amazing. And you know, the work that they do with like Make-A-Wish or like going to all these hospitals to meet cancer patients, like that's amazing too, you know.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it's what's really one thing that made me think of again. I like that we're talking about the first Iron Man right now because it is like 10 years ago. God, it's so hard to think.
crazy.
It's
But
insane.
10 years ago now, and like all of the seeds for what have become the industry. I remember behind the scenes, like there was an interview, like listening to Jon Favreau talk. Like he literally said, like this is an indie film with a big budget. Like that's why it became so successful. Like it had the passion and all of like the excitement of like a small budget film with people like really wanting to do it.
Yeah.
But it had the money of Marvel behind it.
Right.
And like it still wasn't like at the time it was still like probably a conservative. I mean, in today like the modern like what they do now, it's probably super conservative. Like if you look back on it, but like at the time, like it was so like it was a big achievement. And like yeah, if you look at the Fox X-Men, if you look at the X-Men movies that came out with like back into those first like realistic
X1, X2.
X1, X2, X3.
X3,
It's so funny, like just how different and distinct, like how much the genre grew from those movies, and how the fan expectations morphed to make what Iron Man became.
Yeah, and I think even in Phase 2, for example, with Guardians of the Galaxy, there was a turn in the MCU with how the movies are delivered. There's a lot more humor in it, and it's a little bit more colorful and a little bit more goofy, which I'm okay with, because they're comic books, you know, comic book movies. So every movie since Guardians of the Galaxy has a little bit more humor, and like the end of all these serious movies is like Thor 2 Dark World, where they're like taking themselves a little too seriously,
Right.
you know, and being like dark and edgy and everything. And I think it's great that
Well, take a look at Ragnarok. Just
I actually have not seen Ragnarok. Right,
Oh
it's a
my
big.
gosh.
Is it out on DVD, Blu-ray yet?
I'm sure it's
probably.
right around the corner.
That's the thing. It's like at the
Yeah.
time of recording, it's just I've been waiting to find a copy that I can buy so I can watch it.
It
Yeah.
is the sheer hilarity and like the likeness. You're 100% right. They took a very serious plot line and morphed it into something that I'm going to try and save it from the spoilers.
Yeah.
But they did such a great job still making it relevant and even making fun of themselves as superheroes in several moments of that film, being like, oh, that's what heroes do, and then something comical happens to them. But at the same time, it's enjoyable because of its levity. And people are like, wait, this is actually a fantastic movie-going experience to be able to laugh at this and yet also see like your hero triumph, but also change from your expectations, which was
Don't
big.
tell DC this.
Yeah.
Right.
Let them figure that out.
And the same goes for Ant-Man and Spider-Man,
Yeah.
where if they were taken so seriously, those movies would not be as good. Those characters would not be as loved. You know, the fact that they have Spider-Man actually be like a realistic 15, 16-year-old is so great.
It was such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I do have to say I was not expecting the movie. Like I'm trying to avoid spoilers just for like listeners and stuff like that. But I was not expecting to be punched in the face as hard as I was for that twist that happens like towards the end of the movie. Like when the door opened, I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Like I was not expecting to be to be taken that like it was awesome.
It made me happy because it's like, yes, multiracial kids.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was like
Yeah.
it hit me. I was like, this is great. I was not expecting this. This is like, and it made everything that much more exciting in that moment because you were just not expecting it.
Yeah, and just like even in that when they're in the car, for example, his face is green. And then the moment he realizes who Peter is, his face turns red with the red light. I think, well, no, it might be the other way around. It might be red light the entire time because he's waiting, and then the moment he realizes it's Peter and turns around, it
turns green.
It turns to green.
Vulture
like
green.
little things like that are what makes the MCU so great, I think.
Well, I think that's part of the brilliance of the MCU to spin off this. We're talking about this levity that's kind of the rule of thumb for Marvel films, but there's a big disparity between all of these films as well, and that I think that's part of its success is that there are films for all people. So Spider-Man, right? It's a coming of age story. And then you had the Thor franchise as your classic fantasy action romp. You have Guardians of the Galaxy is a humorous character ensemble movie. You know, and so all of these films are different things to different people.
100%.
And they create all of these characters that come from these different genres, essentially. And so I think that's really one of the most exciting things about the Road to Infinity is that you're going to have this smash up of all of these worlds. And we sort of got that, like, that smash up light in Civil War, right? That was essentially like
the first teasing of it. Essentially, yeah.
Well, I mean, you make a really good point. It's they started to hit their stride when they realized every single movie has its own genre. Like Ant-Man is a heist straight up.
Movie.
It's Winter Soldier is a espionage. It's the Thor movies have always been like this almost Shakespearean sort of like higher like society kind of feel, even though there are lighter moments, but like still like at least with Thor 1 and Dark World, you can feel that it has like a Shakespearean tone to it.
And a mythological element.
Mythological and stuff
Ragnarok
like that,
is a buddy film.
Very much.
Know?
Buddy cop film.
Yeah. And it's interesting because they were saying how in Thor 1, 2, and Avengers, like, he speaks so Shakespearean.
Yeah.
And in
Dost mother know thou wearest her drapes?
Yeah. And then in Ragnarok, he's like a little bit more modern or talking the way we would. And they said, or Taika Waititi, who is the New Zealand director, he said that it's because Thor's been hanging out with, the likes of Tony Stark and like other...
He's a little bit more down to earth.
Yeah, a little
Literally.
bit. Right. There you go. 50 points.
I love it. I mean, no, but that's a really good point. That he's now a part of the Avengers initiative, and he's hanging out with people that are not talking with this super high society. I love it. I love it. Yeah.
And speaking of like humor and stuff, I was really wondering prior to seeing Black Panther, like, is there going to be a lot of humor in this? Because it looks like such a badass film.
On the outset, right. It seemed, I haven't seen it yet either, so from the trailers, I'm like, it looks almost Dark Knight-ish in a sense where very intense, like the dynamic between the villain and the hero is extremely, there. It looks like it's taking itself very seriously.
Yeah. I think he takes himself seriously as like a king or like someone who's royal, but there's so much humor in this film also, and it's fantastic.
I'm really happy to hear that. Yeah.
So I did a little bit of research before Black Panther was coming out because I wanted, like, I saw a thing about Killmonger and I was like, this is definitely like a lesser known villain from like most people's consciousness.
Right.
And so when you look at like who he is, I was reading through it and like watching. There was a video that broke it down really effectively too. Like, it is a brilliant villain.
Yes.
Like, he is so interesting, and I cannot wait to see it.
Yeah.
So what about him makes him?
He's on top of like having, I think it's 2 degrees from Harvard or something. Like, he's a genius. He's also like martial arts trained the same degree as Black Panther.
Sure.
He's like on top of that, he's charismatic and has loyalty from people around him. So like he's like this full package villain, just with an opposite agenda to Black Panther.
Cool.
And I don't know all the details. I'm also kind of trying to do a light version, so I don't like destroy anything from the film. I just know that it's everything I saw about it. I was like, if he's like, I love when they have intelligent bad guys instead of like, I'm gonna take over the world. It's just like he's got.
Well, what's your motivation? My wife is dead.
Right. I would say, like, after we watched the film and kind of talked it out, we were like, this film is so Shakespearean with the dynamics of everybody. And like,
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
The inner nerd in me was like, yes, we need more of that. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
It's great. It's fantastic.
Awesome.
And when I left the theater and we went to go to a taco place nearby, there was a guy dressed as Black Panther, and he walked in there and took his helmet off, and I looked at him and I was like starstruck. And I gave him the Wakandan salute, and he like gave it right back to me. And then he like pulled his wallet out and was trying to
Paid for some tacos.
it was amazing.
I mean, it almost sounds like that's the end of the Avengers thing where they're all eating. It's one of of all of the post-credit scenes that have been done. That was it was the left turn that needed to happen for that movie. Like,
Shawarma sales spiked.
oh,
I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
It's just it was a great moment because like this movie is epic and it's got a lot going on and a lot of villains all coming together and a lot of shit going on. But what happens when you put all of that aside and you put all these people in a room and what are they going to talk about?
It's the reality of the situation. They just spent like a ton of time fighting, like actively like fighting and crawling and now they're exhausted. One of them almost died and it's like, I'm hungry, let's go eat. And so they're just sitting there just like, oh my God, I'm so tired. And the person in the background just
just sweeping the room. That was probably my favorite part of that whole
guy.
scene. It's like you have like the Avengers, some dude who just doesn't even know, right?
Yeah.
Because like the news hasn't spread yet. It just happened. And they're all sitting there and he's just like, whatever. I sell shawarma.
Yeah.
It's very New York.
That's
real.
Yeah.
That scene also they shot like 2 weeks prior to the release of the movie, and if you look closely, Chris Evans has this fist on his chin, like he's holding his head up.
Yeah.
And it's because he actually grew his beard out for a different role, and he's like covering
trying to
it.
cover it.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Speaking of Chris Evans' beard, Cap has a beard in Infinity War.
We saw it in the
And
trailers.
What is that all about?
Well, I mean,
You saw what Thor looks like in Infinity
I did,
War.
yeah. And
Right.
in Civil War, it's he's running away. He's run away with a war criminal,
Yeah.
and he's hiding. So clearly, he's not taking care of himself.
Well, what I don't remember, but what happened to his shield? Like, why is Black Panther saying like, "Get this man a shield"?
Well,
and he has a new shield in the
Wakandan
trailer.
shield, yeah.
Vibranium shield.
Well, it's at the end of Civil War, because this is, I think that's I don't remember if that's it's not the latest one I've seen, because anyway, he leaves his Captain America shield behind because Tony says, that's mine, that's my dad's. And so he literally drops the shield.
That's right.
And we were just talking about this a little bit before we started recording, and he goes to Wakanda with Winter Soldier, with Bucky, and that Bucky's frozen there. And so, like, literally, I think he's been just, like, hiding out in Wakanda since the end of that movie. Like, I think that he's in exile. I mean, just like how Hawkeye and all of them were locked up because of what happened, like, he is a criminal by the laws of S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff.
So is that like a prerequisite for being in exile? Like we see this with Luke Skywalker on Crate, right? The beard. Your exile beard. Like you have to.
You don't have access to razors when you're in
Gonna
exile.
say, like,
God.
I don't think it's like a prerequisite. I think it's just like a cause and effect kind of thing. Oh, you're an exile, beard.
I do have a theory, though, that I'm going to throw out there.
Let's hear the theory.
I think because it's Avengers Infinity Wars Part 1 and possibly Part 2,
Right.
I've heard a rumor that the Time Stone will be used and there will be multiple timelines, and that's why Black Widow has white hair. That's why like Cap has a beard. There are different theories going out there, but that's one I'm thinking about.
I did see a report that apparently there was filming on a set that looked like World War II era. I don't know for sure. I can't confirm that, but I'm pretty sure I read a report. It's something like that.
Maybe it's a flashback.
Like it could be. Like I wouldn't be surprised, but like there's. That we have the Eye of Agamotto with the Time Stone.
Right.
So I probably mispronounced that in some way, but
no, that was good. Yeah. I have a theory that I've told you guys before. But the only stone that has not been released yet is the Soul Stone.
Right.
And I have a theory that we've had the Soul Stone in front of us
the whole time
since Thor 1, and it's Heimdall's eyes.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, you did tell us about this, right?
Because
they think about his vision, the power of his vision, and what he's able to do to Thor in Thor Ragnarok, where he like brings him in and gives him that experience as if he's currently there, right?
He can look anywhere in the universe, into any soul. I'm doing finger quotes right now. Or it might be Heimdall's sword that can transfer them to different worlds.
That would be interesting. I don't know if we're gonna see the Soul Stone. Like you said, it might be that they save that reveal for part 2, if that's the thing that's gonna happen.
Oh man.
We don't know.
Yeah.
But
Oh.
I did a little bit of research on the Thanos, all the stones and the Infinity Gauntlet itself, and like the level of ridiculousness that these stones possess, especially when they're all merged together in a gauntlet. You can essentially control time in the universe, like anything in like time and space. Is,
Well-
it's just sheerly like inaccessible. You don't know. I'm curious to see how they're going to interpret that for the film and
Yeah.
like maybe take it down to a little bit more of a realistic level.
Right.
Well, it's going to be really interesting because I know the Tesseract at one point was supposed to be like their go-to for like miracles happening. The Tesseract was
Yeah.
supposed to be
Oh,
that,
yeah.
like, that magic thing, and so now
And if
that
that's one of 5.
exactly, and so like I'm
One of
I am
6.
One of
Six.
six.
Yes.
Six.
Yes.
Six.
yes. Anyway,
Correct.
yeah, I actually I just quickly googled because I just wanted to see the color of the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
And when I was doing the search, I found an image that apparently other people have the same thought that you do, Brian.
Oh yeah.
There's an image where it's on Heimdall's chest plate.
Ooh.
There's a red stone, just like the Soul Stone.
Interesting.
So I think you're onto something.
Is not the red stone the ether
It's
in Thor 2?
I mean, it's kind of a brownish, reddish,
Okay.
garnet kind of colored. I guess I don't know.
Okay.
I'm bad at describing colors.
It's okay.
It's a reddish,
Are
rusty.
you colorblind?
No, I'm not.
Okay, I'm just wondering.
I'm just bad at
Just
describing
just
them.
checking.
I'm,
They're all red. yeah.
It's well, yeah. All of the Infinity Stones are red. The Tesseract is
eyes.
red. The Vision
the
Stone
Mind
is red.
Stone is red.
Peter, we need to get you help.
I think it's sort of an ivory, maybe taupe.
Yeah.
But
So-
no, yeah, I think it's
So, what
interesting.
are some of your other theories or things that you're generally excited for in this upcoming film?
Yeah, well, I'm not excited, but I think it's going to happen is we're going to see Vision die.
No, I keep seeing that scene. And I'm like, no.
I think Jarvis / the actor will be transferred into a different whatever, but definitely the image that we have of the current Vision is going to be gone.
Yeah.
Right.
The
Well, I mean, if
stone's
they're
going to get
removing,
ripped out of his
if
head.
they're removing the stone from his forehead, then yeah, it's probably that's
But
what his lifelink.
is
right?
the
Yeah.
is the stone didn't give him. I didn't think the stone gave him life because he's one of the robotic bodies that Voltron
was-
made.
yeah,
So technically,
from organics.
So technically, his AI is still in the body. It's just not connected to the Soul
I
Stone.
interpreted it a little bit differently. I interpreted it that his AI became its own consciousness and inhabited this organic being. That's how it kind of
Right.
like developed its own personality and like
Right.
became a person.
But yeah, but I guess I didn't think it was linked to the stone in that way. I know that it's. I thought that's what I took away from it because he is an AI.
I think
Yeah.
his consciousness isn't, but his life is like what powers his organic existence. I think once you remove it, like Brian said, maybe his personality and his consciousness survives in a different method. Maybe it goes back to being Jarvis.
Yeah.
But I think it's linked. I mean, we could theorize all day.
Right.
We have
I
to
think
verify
his
this.
the point.
Yeah.
his stone it gives him the power to become invisible, to fly, to like shoot lasers out of his head. That I think that's what the stone is.
I mean,
really.
what every stone does, right?
yeah.
You know, shoot lasers. And fly.
pew pew pew. Yeah. Yeah. So other things in Infinity War, I'm excited to see everyone get back together again.
Yep. Same.
I can't wait to see Spider-Man's new Infinity suit.
Oh, that looks
It
cool.
already looks really cool.
Yeah.
I have to jump in. My favorite moment was that last bit in where Thor lends and who the hell are you guys? And it's
Yeah.
it's the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Goosebumps.
That moment, that integration is probably going to be the
And
thing I'm looking forward to.
Seeing
the most.
Mantis with her little wave.
Yeah, I am honestly curious as to I really want to see how it's all structured together because maybe that's like one of the first moments of the movie. Like they wouldn't throw a huge dramatic moment like that in the trailer.
Right. Well, that's sort of where Thor left off.
That's-
right.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, I have to believe that they're being smart enough that they're not going to put a ton of back end shit in that first trailer.
Right.
They've done such a good job
No.
so long.
Yeah, so far, right.
I think it'll be split into basically like 3 scenarios at the beginning of the movie. It'll be the spaceship with Thor and the group.
Yeah.
And then it'll be New York with Spider-Man, Tony, Strange, all those guys. And then it's going to be Wakanda.
Yeah.
with
Oh,
Captain,
Tony.
Bucky, and Black Panther and the crew.
Probably Black Widow.
Black Widow might be there.
I thought,
Yeah.
I thought she was with the New York crew.
Was she?
Well, there's that scene of all of them running like towards
Oh.
camera, and I'm trying to
Game of
remember.
Forest, Yeah.
It's Bucky. It's the
Cap.
general from Black Panther, the bald lady who is
Oh, yeah.
awesome,
Yeah, incredible.
so incredible.
So I just pulled
Good.
up the image of that run.
Yeah.
We
Who is
see
it?
Bucky, we see Captain America, who's in the
Captain
front. We
America.
see Black Panther, the general lady. What was her name?
I don't remember her name.
Okay.
I'm so sorry, but she's the general.
Right. So the general. I'll look up her name in a second. Black Widow is there.
Oh.
Hawk is there. That's his name. Falcon. Falcon. Hawk.
Falcon or Hawkeye?
Not Hawkeye. The
Falcon.
The Falcon.
The Falcon.
Okay.
I'm sorry. There are too many. Sometimes there's too many bird names. The Hulk is there. I think I
Yeah.
just said that. And
Oh,
then
right.
War Machine is there.
Oh.
Interesting.
I mean,
Ooh.
I don't know who's in the
War
suit.
Machine
Yeah,
is
who's,
there?
who's
I don't know who's in the
piloting War
suit,
Machine?
but it is definitely a steel-colored Iron Man suit.
Oh.
In the top left-hand corner of that screenshot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait a
the
minute.
red eyes. Yeah.
Might be Iron Patriot.
Oh,
No.
I have an idea, but I can't talk to you guys about this until we all
Okay.
until society watches Black Panther.
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
right, right,
okay.
right.
Yeah, I have a theory, but
So,
that's so cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna fact check the name that you're looking for.
If you're looking at that picture, Captain America does not have his star in the middle. He
Right.
has no alliance anymore, really.
That's interesting.
And there's a line someone says to him about, I think it's Loki, but someone says to Captain America specifically about being a part of no nation, like dropping all identity or something like that.
interesting.
And to see him now with no star, no shield, like none of that.
So who
really
is he if
interesting.
he's not
Right.
Captain America? He's
Yeah.
Captain of what now?
Right.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's I know someone I know commented that how is this film being made? Think about the money that it's being commanded.
2 films shot at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just the actors, the A-list actors that they have, the huge
like
cast of
80,
like,
90 A-list actors in this
it's
film.
it's a little ridiculous
It
if
is.
you really think of it. You've got Benedict Cumberbatch against Robert Downey Jr. against Scarlett Johansson.
We could spend
against-
all 30 minutes just naming
just
them.
naming them. I know,
You really could,
honestly. It's
Is
insane.
Okoye?
Okoye, yeah.
Okay. I just
General
wanna-
Yeah,
Okoye?
yeah, General Okoye.
yeah. I think that's who you're looking for.
She was so awesome. Like,
Can't wait.
I just, yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. I would want her to be my bodyguard or, like, just be around me.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
It'd be awesome.
So cool.
So
okay.
another thing I'm really excited about
Yes.
that is not in Infinity War, it's beyond Infinity War, is Captain Marvel.
Is that being teased officially? Has someone? Is there like a leak that has said that's being made?
There's a picture out of her in the suit.
Mm-hmm.
It's not actually a picture of her in her red, blue, gold suit. She's wearing a Nova Corps suit, but it looks exactly the same as her Captain Marvel suit. It's just not in color.
And it is officially announced as a 2019 film.
Yes. Oh my
I think
god.
they're about to wrap filming.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. And I have a theory that I want to throw out there.
Please.
So Martin Freeman
Mm-hmm.
is in the MCU.
Right.
He plays Agent Everett Ross. Is
Right.
his name.
Right.
Which is kind of confusing because there's General Ross and now there's an Agent Ross. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of white names. But so
He is a
Agent,
token white guy.
Yes, Tolkien.
Tolkien
Tolkien
white
white
guy.
guy.
Token
Tolkien.
white guy.
It's Andy Serkis and
Yeah,
Martin
Andy
Freeman are
Serkis
the
and
only
Martin
two.
Freeman.
Yeah, everyone's heard this joke.
Yeah.
But it's so brilliant.
you're the
It's
Tolkien
so
white guys.
smart. It's
Yeah.
so smart.
So Everett Ross, he appears in Black Panther as well, and you find out, no spoilers or anything, but you find out that he is a former, he's a CIA operative, but he's a former Air Force guy. And it made me think Captain Marvel is an Air Force captain, so maybe when they shoot this movie in the 80s or 90s, we go back.
Oh, and you see
and Martin
him
Freeman is like a younger
version of himself.
Yeah, and that would connect, Captain Marvel into the MCU in that way.
Interesting.
Maybe Everett Ross is going to be like the new Coulson, where he like pops up in every film.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
That'd be
could
pretty
be.
cool, yeah.
Speaking of which, have you ever watched the TV series Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I watched the first 2 seasons.
What
and
did you
then-
think? Your overall opinion? How it tied into the MCU?
Oh my gosh, when Captain America Winter Soldier came out, and the reveal was that Hydra was S.H.I.E.L.D. all along, or S.H.I.E.L.D. was Hydra all along, and I watched the next day the following episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and that complete control of Hydra takeover happened, my mind was blown.
Man.
My mind was blown.
Yeah. Okay. So pretty well. In other words, they tied pretty well.
At that time, pretty well. And then I got kind of bored with it and I fell off the map. But I'm so happy that they are in their 5th season now. That's so crazy.
That's great.
Wow.
Yeah,
They're still going? Wow. It's
But
incredible.
that was one of those things where it was revealed that, Hydra was S.H.I.E.L.D., S.H.I.E.L.D. was Hydra, and everything changed.
Right.
And I think something, Black Panther, things are going to change.
Okay.
It's like some big shit's happening.
All right. Well,
Interesting.
that's actually a good place to leave off because we have been talking for over 30 minutes at this point. It's crazy.
wow.
Flew by.
It's crazy how
Every
fast that
time.
happens
Yeah.
every time. But it's time for the plus 10 XP segment where we have 10 minutes now to kind of pick your brain about. Well, I say whatever we want, but we all have things we kind of want to ask you.
Okay. All right.
To start off with,
this?
to start off with, it's something I've definitely been wanting to talk about. I talked to you a little bit about it, person to person, but I mentioned at the top of the show you were Ash Ketchum in Epic Rap Battles of History.
Yes, I was.
It's a good story, and I believe a great
It's an
experience.
honor to be here with
It's
you.
frankly great. I love that rap so much.
Yes.
So I guess there's no real question. Just wanted to geek out a little bit and just be like, it was awesome.
It was awesome. I mean, it was such an amazing experience, and basically what happened was, we had Epic Lloyd as our guest for the 500th Batsu show.
Right.
And prior to the show starting, I was just kind of shooting the shit with him, just talking with him. And I'm a huge Epic Rap Battle fan as well. And I told him that, and he was like, "Oh, do you have any ideas?" And I was like,
Only about 1,000.
yeah. And then the next, I was like, I'll come back to you with it. And then the next day, Pokemon Go just came out at that time.
Right.
So I was like, my girlfriend and I are obsessed with Pogo. And he's like, I don't know what that is. And I was like, Pokemon. He's like, I don't really watch that. I was like, well, I think it would be great if you had someone like Ash Ketchum who collects creatures. He believes in evolution. Go against someone like Charles Darwin who also believes in evolution and collects creatures. And he was like, oh.
Yeah.
And then I had happened to have written a rap for a diversity showcase. And so, I was just, I don't know how it happened, but I decided to do it for him. And then Eric, our producer, at the end of the rap, when I, mic dropped it, Eric was like, Brian, we need you. And I was like, sorry, dude. And I had to walk away. And I was like, that was actually perfect.
You left it off on a good
Right.
moment, right?
Right,
Good.
because if I spoke after that, I probably would have crumbled and yeah. But then 2 days later, they're like, "Hey, we want to call you in, bring you over to LA, and we want you to be Ash Ketchum." I was
So there was
"What?"
that was your audition. Was that moment prior? Yeah.
And I didn't even pitch it as if I want to be Ash Ketchum. I just said this would be a great idea.
Yeah. And yet you're a perfect fit.
Yeah, you really
it
are,
worked
man.
out.
So what was the actual experience? Whatever you're allowed to unveil of how it works behind the scenes.
I was there for a week in LA. They treated me very nicely, and then basically I listened to the beat a couple times, and then we recorded it a full day of just recording over and over again. And the Ash Ketchum voice that I do is it's a mix between Eminem and Aziz Ansari, so it's really
Love
high
that insider
and,
view on that. Yeah.
yeah, he just kept saying higher, higher. I want your voice to be higher, and I was warming up all day, Darn wants a battle, Darn wants a battle. And then I had a day off. They had to record and or tweak and edit and everything, and then they were like, we're gonna do a full day of shooting for your green screen shots, and I had the outfit on. And
Wow.
all of the Pokeballs were all lined up there. I was
Yeah,
nerding
that's
out.
Wow. They drew under your eyes and
They drew
stuff
under
like
my
that.
eyes.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
did my
yeah.
hair.
It's so good.
I loved it, man.
Yeah,
I loved
cool.
it.
It's high production value.
That's what you want to do every day. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
exactly.
That's the dream.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and you're also a huge Pokemon fan. I mean, like you
Yes.
said, so it's literally almost all of us want to be in the Pokemon universe, and you have a claim of I was Ash Ketchum
Right.
for Epic Rap. It's
Yeah.
so cool, man.
I was, I mean, it's all over the internet, but, I have a picture of me as an 8-year-old dressed up as Ash Ketchum. And so, to see it 20 years later,
Yeah.
me in the outfit.
In a several hundred,
It's,
at
so
least a
crazy.
few dozen million views on
Yeah.
YouTube. Now,
It's,
right?
it just hit, last I checked, it was 22 or 21 million,
Yeah.
which is insane.
That is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. But,
That's awesome.
Yeah, Pokemon, Marvel. I mean, MCU. That's the goal as well.
21 million views.
Man,
21 million. Yeah.
your next gig be someone at the MCU for Epic Rap Battle.
Oh my gosh. Well, I want to be in the MCU. You know,
God, yeah.
I've auditioned for Daredevil and Iron Fist. Those TV shows, not those roles, obviously.
right.
But all those ninjas and yakuzas and stuff. Like I'm always auditioning for that.
Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, it's not going anywhere. So,
Right,
Or
right.
rather, it's going everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's like it's staying put.
It's not gonna
Those shows
disappear.
are here to stay. Right?
only a matter of time. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
You're a
Cool.
great
Well, I mean, I think
Yeah.
that was a good transition.
Thank
We wanted to talk to you about Pokemon in specific. So,
Yeah.
what originally inspired you to talk to Epic Lloyd was your love for Pokemon Go.
Yes.
And this we were talking about it before the show. This game has now been out for almost this summer will be 2 years.
Yes. Yes.
Brian, you still play every day.
I play every single day. I
That's
played
amazing.
on the way over here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
There is a Pokestop actually just by
Just
the,
outside our
right where
building.
we're standing
Yeah.
is a Poke. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Pokestop.
Because it's the mural downstairs.
We
yeah,
can
yeah.
reach
Yeah.
it. Yeah. But yes, I do. I do still play every single day.
Do
Yeah.
you play other Pokemon games like the major releases for the consoles or for the handhelds rather and things like that?
No.
No. Okay. have you played Pokemon like the actual games ever? Like in
The
the
Game
past?
Freak games?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, 1996 or 7, I got my first Pokemon game. It was Pokemon Red, the Japanese version, and then my mom thought they were all different, so she also got me Pokemon Green and Pokemon Blue, and then we got Pokemon Yellow when that one came out, and then I got
Was Pokemon Green ever released in the States?
not in the States,
No.
no,
Yeah.
in Japan, and then Silver and Gold, and then Crystal
Yes.
was my last one,
Oh, Crystal
Wow.
was
and
so
then
good.
that's where I jumped off.
That took you right to what was that? The Advanced Game Boy Advance?
Yeah,
I
Game Boy
think?
Advance.
Yeah.
It was the
Crystal
first.
was Game Boy Color.
It was.
Game Boy Color,
Oh,
yes.
Crystal was color.
It was the
Yes.
last.
It was the last one on Game Boy Color.
That's right. yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it was the best one too. Like everything that's
Yes.
come, like even though X and Y and like stuff that have come on beyond
Sun
are,
and
are
Moon,
great.
yeah,
It's
Black and White.
Crystal was just such a amazing Pokemon.
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because I was never into video games as a kid and now like that's my whole life.
Right.
So when I went to Florida to go visit relatives when I was maybe about 9 or 10, everybody in my class at that point had been playing Pokemon. And it was kind of the hot thing. My aunt got it for me, but I didn't have a Game Boy. And I was like, hey, Mom and Dad, this is the cool thing that everybody's doing. You need to get me a Game Boy. And like that changed the course of my history from then on out. It started with Pokemon Blue.
Right.
And I also got Red and Yellow, but that's where I stopped because I started getting into all this other stuff. I started investing in consoles. So yeah, I mean, it's amazing to see how it's come
Yeah.
20 years later or 20 plus years later.
I mean, they just had their 25-year anniversary.
Yeah,
not that
25.
long ago.
So
Yeah.
crazy.
insane.
And I because I play Pogo on my phone and because my battery is constantly drained, I wish I had just like a Pokemon Go like console that I could just carry around. 'Cause I would be
AKA
happy to
a
do that.
second phone.
A second phone. Yeah.
Hey, if you're listening, Nintendo, the demand is there. Pokemon Go on the go.
On the go.
Well, I mean, they do have those watch things, and
the Pokemon Go Plus.
yeah,
yes.
and that's where it counts your steps, so you're still like moving around. Or how? Do you know how those work?
Yes,
I don't.
we have one. We don't use it anymore because they keep updating, and I feel like that was an original like Gen 1, so it's kind of outdated. But basically, when you walk and have the game on, if you walk across a Pokemon or a Pokestop, then your Plus will buzz, and then you could just press the button, and you can automatically catch it or not catch it. And you don't have to go to your phone. You don't have to flip it
Do the
and
whole
yeah,
ball
throw the
catching thing.
Pokeballs or anything. So
interesting.
it's so much
Okay.
easier.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a great way, especially if you're running or especially if you're at work and hiding, and you're like, oh, there's a Pokemon in my pocket right now because my Pokemon Go's Plus is buzzing. You just press the button over and over again.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so I wish they had like a Pokemon Go Plus 2.
Right, or
like, something
updated for at least
updated.
the latest.
Like if
right.
it looked like an Ultra Ball or something, or like,
Oh.
it'd be really cool, like a second gen one.
If you're listening, still Nintendo.
Yeah.
Nintendo, I know we have great reach with this podcast right now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
cool.
Pokemon Go is my girlfriend and I still playing every day.
Every
so
day.
good.
Level
Yes.
38 right now.
That's incredible.
And I have every single legendary except Mewtwo because Niantic can't get their X-raid pass thing straight because they keep messing that up.
What is that? The X-ray pass?
So you get an X-raid pass. You get raid passes. So you do raids
Oh,
now.
raid pass.
But an
Yeah.
X-raid pass is a special pass that you are designated to a specific gym that you have to meet up with everybody and fight Mewtwo together.
Oh, that's cool.
But for this latest batch of X-raid passes, they sent me to freaking upstate that I played like 6 months ago.
Oh, no.
Like all these people are,
Because you
doing-
had activity there previously.
Yes.
Jesus.
So like, why would you want? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
So screw it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not getting Mewtwo for a while, but I do have everything else.
Cool.
That's really
Yeah,
cool.
that's really exciting.
Sweet,
Yeah.
man.
Awesome.
Yay.
Yeah.
I'm also assuming you played the card game. I know that.
I did play, or I collected.
Collected.
I
Okay.
collected the Japanese cards.
Okay.
Not the American ones, but yeah, I had some shinies. I had some holographs and stuff.
Because I remember.
Japanese foil Charizard.
As in you have one,
Showing
or-
off. Mm.
No, I just. Did you have
Oh.
one?
Yes,
Is that-
yes,
oh,
I did.
I know.
Do you still
Yeah.
have one?
Yeah, if you do, it's worth.
Somewhere in my house in Japan. Yeah.
Say that belongs in a fire safe.
Yeah,
And,
wait another 5 years, and then you'll just be able to retire. Essentially, just do whatever you want.
And I'm pretty sure I have a Pokemon 2000 like original Togepi shiny and like all these. There was like a 6 shiny set.
The collective body.
Shiny.
Because I remember in middle school when the cards started coming out, every once in a while, one of my friends would have one of the Japanese trading cards instead of
Yeah.
the American, and it was like,
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I had that fame, but with Yu-Gi-Oh cards instead. I got a
I
whole
did-
bunch of
I
the
went through that
Japanese.
phase
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I could like fool my friends because I had like a pyramid turtle, which did nothing, but I had some status effect, and so I was like, no, I looked it up. This like lets you win the game, basically, or something ridiculous. I was like, this lets me summon out another 5 monsters in one turn. They're like,
That's the
impossible!
symbol. That's the symbol for 5 turns.
It's 5.
all right. Well, actually, it's a really good stopping point. We're at time, unfortunately.
Oh man.
Brian, this has been amazing.
This is a lot
has
of
been
fun.
So
Yeah,
fun.
I want to
Thank you.
geek out with you guys again.
I know. Well, yeah, we should, because the more GXP we get, the closer we get to leveling up.
There-
So
oh.
that's right. So I
Get
mean,
another life.
probably close to, if not, we leveled up today. I know. I feel it was great. A lot of Geek XP today. But again, thank you, Brian.
Thank
this
you.
has been great. So thank you guys again for listening. Again, I'm Peter the Geek.
I'm GMJC.
I am the Soup Man, Stephen Campbell.
That's right. Thank you again for listening, guys, and have a good rest of your day. And remember, level up with GXP!
Wakanda forever.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to our show. If you liked Geek XP, help us out by becoming a contributor on our Patreon. We have bonus content, raffles, and more at patreon.com/yourgeekxp. Geek XP is recorded live at Face Off Unlimited headquarters in Astoria, Queens, and was edited by Peter Hargarden. Executive producers are Joe Tex, Jay Painter, and Eric Robinson. FOU Studios is a property of Face Off Unlimited LLC. I'm Peter Hargarden, the senior producer of podcasts here, and on behalf of everyone who worked on the show, we'd like to thank you, the listener, for tuning in. Subscribe to catch all of our other podcasts here on the FOU Studios Podcast Network. To connect with the geeks, follow us at YourGeekXP on Facebook and Twitter. To learn more about FOU, connect with us via social media at FOU Studios and visit us at FOUstudios.com. Boom!